Up here on the Y strut, we have the tuning gauge. Down here we have the indicator lever, which attaches directly to the pedal shaft, goes up the activator arm, connects to the indicator arm, and then shows you where you are on the pitch. So I want to twist this like that. I think that's it. While these dry, I'm going to move on to making the spacers that keep those rails apart. So if these were the rails, I need a 3/16, approximately 3/16 inch spacer to go in between to hold them apart. And to do that, we'll take this piece of 464 alloy brass, it's 1/4 inch round, drill a hole in it. It'll be the same size as the pass-through hole on the rail, and then take that drilled piece and cut it to length on the lathe using the digital readout. I want them to be a little oversized. 3/16 is 1/87. I should be able to get these all, hopefully, to within plus or minus 2 thousandths. So I'd be happy with 0.190 to 0.192. And I want the bolts to be able to slide freely, not be a tight fit. Spacers are done. Time to do the layout. So I need to make 4 parts. And it's going to be these rails, 2 of each. One will get a threaded hole on either end, 6.5 inches apart. The other one will have a hole 6.5 inches apart that bolt that threads into that will pass through. When they're put together, they make these parallel rails, and that's where the tuning indicator bolts go, which we'll see here in a little bit. So I'm making the knuckles out of 7/16 inch brass 464 alloy brass stock. And what I'm doing, cutting off pieces that are slightly larger than 1.125 in length, and then finishing both ends so it's 1 1/8 of an inch, so 1.125. Drilling a hole in the center, reaming that to 1/4 inch, which is the size of the stock I'll use for my activator arm. When I'm done that, I will tap an 832 thread on one side and a 1/4 inch 20 thread on the other side. And that's it. I'll use the collet chuck to do that so I can take it out, flip it around, and not worry about things being off center. So this threads into this and freely moves in this with bronze bushing. Previous designs of this had this threading into the pivot arm and the knuckle, and that would loosen and tighten as it would go along the rail, but that could also create some rattles later. I'm hoping this will eliminate any rattle. Spins nice and freely, but nice and snug as well. Same here. Now let's get the other one done and move on to the other knuckles. So the next step is to reinstall the struts that have the tuning gauges installed on them. I'm going to take the tension rods off, remove the heads, temporarily reinstall the bowls, get everything put back together and fairly aligned. And then I'm going to make a template for the activator arm, which goes from the rod, or rather the shaft down here, up to the tuning gauge. And to do that, I bought some reinforcing ladder wire mesh used in concrete work. And it's actually quite easy to bend, which is why I chose to get it. So I can just form this into any shape I want. This will allow me to get something like a facsimile, if you will, of the activator arm. So I can bend it out of 1/4-inch stainless steel, which is gonna be much harder to bend, and we'll do that on the little vise bench bender thing that I have. So what I need is for this to remain parallel to this, and for this plane to be flat. So again, we'll use this as our template to bend a 1/4-inch stainless steel version of this, and come back and check them. Once I'm happy with them, polish them up, and those parts will actually be done. Now that the tuning gauges are done, aside from some details like cleaning up the length so that the rails match, possibly shortening the knuckles a little bit, it's time to move on to other things. The tuning gauges function perfectly fine. The activator arms, they actually turned out really well. I'm really happy with how that worked. I think the template was the key. One thing I do need to do is open up the hole just a little bit on the knuckles. Again, I'll use like a 251 or 252 reamer, so I can get this 1/4-inch rod through it with no real friction. My plan for the next couple of videos will be remaking some hoops, stripping the paint, which I don't need to do that on camera, frame alignment, and some other minor details, little bits and pieces like new springs for the pedals. For those of you who've subscribed and followed along with this project, I appreciate it. That means a lot to me. If you could smash that like button down there at the bottom of the video, that helps the YouTube algorithm. I appreciate any form of support, whether it's subscribers, likes, shares, Instagram and Facebook follows, or if you want to support me through my Amazon wish list, I use those items to make these videos. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.